Hello and welcome to today's Studio Army review. This is a special review of a portion of my Tau army that I call my Croute army. Now I'm going to start this video with these three particular models, all of which are conversions of one sort or another. What I strive to do is create, since it's not possible in the current actual the actual codex, to actually make an all Croute army, I thought about ways I could make a counts as Croute army. So, starting with my HQ choices, the two models on the end I actually reviewed in a model showcase. The one to the right is a Croute shaman, counts as an ethereal. The one to the left is a aun'shi, he's the ethereal that's good at close combat. The one in the center is actually a dual-purpose Croute shaper. He's equipped as a standard shaper with the pulse rifle upgrade, but I've given him a little bit extra armor, or at least it looks like, with heavier plating, whatever. So he can actually stand in as my cadre fireblade. So with these Croute HQ, I'm able then to expand and start making a Croute army. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll of course need troops, and the Croute units themselves are troops. So that's not a hard one at all. This particular Croute unit was the first unit I created, and this is the shaper. I've given him a few extra bags, sacks, little things that kind of give him a sense of this is, he's got some status. The rest, they're just Croute. No special conversions or anything there. They're only 15. And the reason they're only 15 is because I went a little too far. Let's see if this focuses. Come on. Oh, not focusing really well there. But each of these Croute actually have 19 different colors. It was a good idea at the time for the first few I painted, but boy, I tell you, it takes a long time to paint 19 different colors, and that doesn't count shades. So they're only going to be 15 unless I get really ambitious and do 5 more. But these are just my most colorful Croute. Oops, I think it's lost a little bit there. Focus, there it is. Losing a little bit. So that's my first Croute squad. The second one is actually a conversion. And these I have 20 of. Now these models, I'm not the first one to do this, so I'm not going to claim any special, creativity or anything, but here. This, come on, let's see if I can get this thing to focus properly. Not really liking it. It is a dark color. It's very dark green. It's actually a couple different shades of dark green, almost a black green. It is a Soros lizard man body with Croute head and Croute arms. I just leave them right there. You can kind of get a. Let's see if we can zoom in. It's not liking that at all. It's trying. Nope, sorry guys. It's not really liking that zoom. Focus. But these 20 are, there's nothing special about them except that I took a lizardman body and put a Croute head and arms on it. That's all it takes. And simple color scheme, kind of alligator-ish. And a lot of fun to put together. Now the arms themselves fit pretty well when they go on to the side of the Soros body, so you don't have to do a whole lot of finagling, but there are a couple particular combinations that don't quite look real nice, so you might want to throw shoulder pads on to kind of cover up the joint. But anyway, so that's two full squads. Potential, I could actually split up into have 3 troop squads if I really wanted to. Generally I give these Soros ones sniper rifles, just to give them the Monster Hunter ability, essentially wounding monster creatures on 4s. Get a 24-inch range shot, 20 shots. That's gonna, potentially hurt something. And of course on 6s, with the sniper rule, that's AP2, so I could do some damage. But I don't usually equip my whole force with sniper rifles or sniper rounds. Now the next one, I do have Croute hounds. Well, sort of. Okay, I really like the idea of the Croute hound. I didn't like the model. Not the sculpt. Sculpt was kind of cool because it matches the whole fluff in the background of kind of dead-end genetic paths that the Croute went down. But I wasn't about to spend that much money for Croute hounds, considering I think you get 5 in a package or 4 in a package. There's maximum 10. So it was not economical. So I decided to go with these Bones Hellhounds. And these are my Croute hounds. Going off the story of kind of like the Croute being more in touch with their nature, their natural surroundings, they're able to tame some of the more wild beasts around. So on the planet they're currently on, one of the planets in the system, the Tau have settled on there in my sept. These creatures are the equivalent of Croute hound. I only have 2, but it's a start. I enjoyed painting them. They're a cool looking model, at least in my opinion. And so that's how I'm going to approach Croute hounds for a little over $2 a piece. It's a whole lot better than $5 a piece, what have you. But one of the things I really wanted to do was I wanted to have the feel of some of these fan-based codexes. I love the completely Croute codex, but when I first started with the gaming group, I got the feeling that some of the guys really didn't appreciate and wouldn't accept play of some of these fan-based codices. So I really didn't feel like I could really pursue the completely Croute codex in my Croute army. So I figured I'd try to figure a way to use the existing Tau rules or Croute rules to come up with units to make things. So one of the things that was really cool is there was a bodyguard unit in the completely Croute codex way back in the day, and I liked the concept of that. So what I decided to do was create this unit here. 10 individuals, and these are my Crude Bodyguard. Let me focus this here. Okay. The Croute used to fight with fighting staves. So this particular model is, I took a Croute rifle, filed it down, and I don't think I had to use any putty in here. It just meant carving the various parts of the rifle down to make it look more like carved wood. Some of the walking sticks you'll see that are kind of knurled a little bit. That's kind of what I was going for here. And then took the various blades and repositioned them or added more to it to make a Croute fighting stave. So I made 2 of them looking like this, and then the others, there's the other one, Croute fighting stave. The others I gave other Croute type weapons. So this one has got a knife in one hand and sort of almost a knife baton, almost like a tomahawk. And let's see, there's knives and tomahawk kind of weapons scattered throughout the unit. And these all count as Croute hounds. So there's no shooting in these. These are the Croute sworn to protect the shaman, kind of. And so the way I would run them is I'd add these Croute hounds to my Croute carnivore squad and then throw the shaman or the shaper in there. And that becomes the bodyguard. In the completely Croute codex, the bodyguard is a separate unit that the shaman or the shaper can join. So that was my compromise. I was able to come up with a completely close combat-y Croute, following kind of the old history, like of the fighting staves and whatever, and just count them as Croute hounds, which have a very similar stat line to the Croute carnivore. Now, the one thing that they lack is high leadership, and so the way I explained that was, if they're going to have the leadership of the highest thing around. So if it's the shaper, they're loyal to that shaper. As long as he's alive, they're doing well. But if the leader dies, they've failed. That's the way their sense of honor is, and so their morale is gonna sink. And so their five leadership I think they've got kicks in, and they're likely gonna flee the battle if there's no other Kroot around us to kind of rein them in. So so that is the rest of the troops. Now there's a Forge World unit that I was not about to spend the money on, and I did not come up with this on my own. A friend of mine gave me a bunch of Soros Riders, and I thought, perfect. Taking after my Soros bodied Kroot, I'll throw Kroot heads on here. I've got myself a Narlock herd, so that's exactly what I did. And the only difference is that I wanted to give them something a little different. I'm not sure what kind of weapon they've got. Initially, I wasn't going to glue these on, but I am going to glue them on now. I had been using these cold ones in a different army to represent a different unit, but I decided that no, I won't use them for that. I'm going to actually use them for this purpose. I took the Croute rifle and basically turned it into a carbine by shortening the front and taking off all the spikes. Because if I remember correctly, the Narlock Rider they have a different weapon. I don't think they have the regular fighting Kroot rifle. But anyway, it looked cool. It looked a little bit more balanced. When I initially had the Kroot rifle mounted, it was just such a long weapon on a cavalry, and it didn't quite feel right. So I shortened it down to make it a little bit more, to make it feel better. So these are Narlocks. I haven't used them in battle yet, simply because they're expensive. They're 25 points a model, and that's a lot for a 6 armor, 3 wound model. Trying to work my way in to figure out how to use it best. I did only recently finish these. I did finish them this year. It was just a matter of I have been playing my Tau for a bit, but focusing on my Exodite army. So, but these are my Narlock Riders, and I do plan on trying them out more and trying to get more use out of them. All right. Now, these are the last 2 vehicles that I've got in my Tau army, and these are my Kroot skiffs. They count as Piranhas. Now, these models are basically, I almost call them scratch built. They're scratch built with the exception of a single detail part back here, and that piece there is actually part of a model railroad engine. Other than that, it's all scratch built. Even the fusion blaster, which does come off because I can, it's magnetized, and I can put a burst cannon on there if I want. I've got 2 different designs of the front. One is just the straight lines coming down versus this kind of cross section. Don't know which I like better. I do know this one's a little better to build, a little more stable. When you have a thin sheet of styrene and you try to glue down a thin line like that around that curve, it ends up creasing. So it becomes more of a prow instead of a nice rounded front. But this is just sheet styrene, top and bottom. The deck is wood, and the Kroot are just Kroot carnivore that I kind of cut up to take a seated position. Use different Kroot rifle parts to represent the different control mechanisms. This is the pilot, this is the gunner, and then figured a way to put, using sheet styrene and tube styrene and what have you, the mounting points for the drones. And just to reinforce the image, I put the Kroot rifles on little racks on either side of the Kroot skiff. That way, once they dismount, they've got their Kroot rifles and they're ready to go do their whatever. The backstory on these is that the Kroot used to use chariots for hunting, in the prairies and such, and plains. And so this is just their way of hunting in war. It's their Kroot skiff. Now, a lot of people, see the resemblance between this and some of the Star Wars Jabba the Hutt stuff. And there's a lot of truth to that. The Battlefront game, or Battlefield game, Star Wars Battlefront, that was it. There's a level that has, what are they called, the sand people on it, and or one of the boards. And they run around on this skiff that looks a lot like this. It's got 4 different gun positions plus the driver's position. And that's where I got the general concept. So these run as Piranhas, and I don't really use any additional components or war gear on this. I will usually upgrade it to a fusion blaster because honestly having more anti-tank is always good. I don't have a lot of anti-tank in a Kroot army, and so having the extra drones added in, plus having a fast armor-piercing type of a weapon is very good. The drawback is it does only one shot, so when I have other opportunities for anti-armor on the table, I just throw burst cannons back on. Because Piranhas generally do wreak havoc. They're good for scoring objectives because they do move so fast. I don't plan on making any more of these. If I actually do more Piranhas, they'll be the traditional traditional Tau Piranha. So that's where I'm kind of headed with that. And then the last piece of my Croute army is this right here. This is my Croute Broadside. Now, taking a page out of the completely Croute book, thinking in terms of the greater Narlock that they kind of ride with the bolt thrower on, and then I saw someone create a model of using a Narlock, but they strapped the heavy rail rifles, and missile pods on the saddle area, kind of thing. So they kind of counted as a Crude Broadside. I thought, hey, you know what? That's a great idea. Well, I wasn't about to spend money on a Narlock because those are expensive. Yeah, they're great models, but they're just expensive. So I went with a Reaper Dragon, and as a matter of fact, this does come off. I'll take that off real quick. I didn't do anything fancy to the dragon. I just painted it. I didn't even bother covering in where the wings used to be. But I created, out of green stuff, I created a leather blanket that kind of goes over. Let me put that back on there. There. And so then a wood deck with the wood beam from which suspends the rail rifle itself. On the back there's more beams that actually suspend the smart missile systems. I forget what I used here, but this is the power cell that powers all the weapons. And again, another Kroot carnivore, just cut up a little bit. In fact, I just noticed that I busted up his hand somewhere in the process. So somewhere there I have a missing hand. I'll check one of my boxes. But he's got controls to basically not ride the actual beast. Again, they have more of a natural way of communicating, pheromones way of communicating, or even controlling the beast. But those control aiming the weapon systems. So that is my Croute Broadside. It's on a 60mm base. Fits really nice. When I do play it, a lot of my opponents seem to really appreciate the look of it. They enjoy playing against it. So I may occasionally equip it with the shield generator. The scaly hide kind of being a 4-up invuln. That kind of makes sense. But other than that, I don't do any upgrades or anything to this one. Not even bother with stim injectors. Though I could. It usually doesn't really pay for itself. And it just feels a little high-tech, even though I could give it kind of like a robust constitution as the explanation for why I would feel no pain. So this is the way I like to run my broadside. 2-up armor save. That's exactly what a dragon should have. And a shield generator makes it 4-up invuln because of its special hide. Yeah, so that's my Croute army. I didn't want to show it all at once because it is, I kind of want to go unit by unit to kind of build up to these conversions. Let me know if you want me to go into any more of these models in a little more detail, either in a conversion showcase or a model showcase, and I will gladly do that. Comment below on what you think about playing against Croute using like the Croute codex, either from Completely Croute or any other fan-based codexes. What you may have done as far as Croute models and what have you. But other than that, share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the next video. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.